Hi everyone, it's Justin here with Voices for Voices. Thank you so much for joining. Whether you're watching, listening, if you've been with us since the beginning, or this is your first episode, thank you very much for making Voices for Voices a part of your life. We are extremely grateful to have you with us. We're going to talk about another tough subject, could be considered tough. Uh, and And this has to deal with, kind of the medical world, hospitals, uh, people that are very, very ill, very sick. And I'll start by this. So let's say you get a call from somebody in your family and says, Grandma, you fill in the blank, is very ill, and she wants to see, or he wants to see uh, all relatives, friends, before, the inevitable. And, and so you rush over to the hospital or the hospice care, wherever your loved one or a friend that can be a good friend, great friend. Uh, it all comes down, they're human beings, so that's what it all comes down to. So you show up, right? And again, I'm a believer. You don't have to be, but this is something that actually happened, and that's why I'm bringing this up. So we're not trying to start any battles with any churches or anything like that. This is just a fact that happened. Uh, and so you show up to the facility where your loved one, friend, is at, and they request last rites, and that's something Christians, Catholics uh, are able to do. They're able to get last rites and get blessings that they would go to heaven, and their work is here on earth is done. And again, I'm not a clergy member, so I don't know all the words, but that's kind of the idea where somebody from a church comes and gives, they call it the last rites. And let's say that you show up and say, oh, Grandma so and so has requested last rites from this this priest. She's been going to church for years, and the priest comes, is in the room, and then gets a text or a call from somebody back at church, and then the priest hangs up the phone, and the priest says, I can't give you the your last rites. And all the gathered are kind of like, well, what do you mean you can't give the last rites? And the priest says, well, you didn't give enough of your money over the years to the church, so I can't give you last rites. And then the priest leaves. So this might sound far-fetched, like, yeah, Justin, you're making this up. This is, some out there story. Well, yeah, it is an out there story. It actually happened. And I know this from firsthand experience of certain member that was present, and that this actually happened. So that's the first thing I want to address. That again, we're not. I'm not trying to pick battles at all with the churches or anybody. We're bringing straight up facts. And if people get upset about the facts, that's not on me or us as an organization. That's on the people that do the acts that may have a guilty conscience. Um, so that's all I'll say on that. So let's get over to the second topic. Spend the majority of the show on. We've talked about being an advocate a long time. I know there's at least one show we did on being an advocate. Uh, for ourselves, on the mental health side. Well, this goes for the regular, the when someone hears the word health, they think kind of the outward health of like, or the inward, like how's my heart doing, my lungs, my liver, kidney, my electrolyte levels, and my vitamin D. Th those are what usually would be considered just kind of the outward health. And we talked about being an advocate for the mental side. Well, we need to also be an advocate for ourselves on the outward health and the inward health of our organs, right? So the mental health part that really, I think, focuses a lot on the brain, trauma, things that have occurred, haven't been, kind of debriefed and shared, uh, and then we have the other part of health where a majority of people are like, "Oh, I don't have mental health." And it's like, well, you do. We all do. Us humans, we all have mental health, physical health, etc. So this is in the line of, physical health and, organ and muscle health. And I just have to say that I'm very disappointed in a certain local hospital uh, that has treated somebody, is treating somebody I know, and I've visited and I've seen and heard with my own eyes and ears, uh, not being this individual not being treated like a full human being. What do I mean by that? I mean, medical staff is treating the symptoms, not the actual cause. And so they being the medical folks, and the cardiologists, and I was just floored when this just this one aspect, and there's many aspects. So the first aspect is two different cardiologists come in. Neither, and the reason my friend is in the hospital is heart related, and not neither of the two cardiologists, check the heart rate, heartbeat. They come in with their stethoscopes around their neck, like, they're ready for business, which they should be. That's their job. And not one of those cardiologists checked the heart. And there were no notes being taken of these visits. The chart wasn't in the doctor's hands, which usually it has been, or they'll have accompanied staff with them that will be taking notes and doing that. So I was disappointed because I mean that's just I just I don't want to say that's a small thing, but I'm not a doctor, but I would know that if I would turn into a doctor, if I take a nap and I wake up and I'm a doctor and I have a stethoscope and I'm going to see a patient and in the heart wing of the hospital, I would probably at least want to check the heartbeat and that. So that was one thing. But the big thing I want to talk about dovetails from being an advocate that we've talked about. So this medical staff, again, I'm not going to name names and that, uh, but I have been given permission by the patient to share this so we can not only help him, we can make more people aware of this, that this does happen, and that we do have rights and we do have the ability to have an advocate with us for us if we have if we're at the hospital for chest pains or whatever the thing or things are. Uh, we we are afforded the ability to have an advocate that can look at the total picture. So that's mental health, that's physical health, that's whether diet, uh, we talked about, the mental health. Has there been any trauma? How's that affecting what's happening? And I was very disappointed uh, that the medical staff, I mean, pretty much the cardiologists, the nurses are fantastic. Cardiologists, uh, they're just like pushing these procedures. Like, we got to get this ablation. Oh, you only get the ablation. Well, we'll get, I think it's called a conversion. So they put you under anesthesia and they shock the heart to try to get it back in rhythm. And so we had thought that that was a path to go down. And so we did, and he did, and it didn't work. They tried three different times, and then one of the cardiologists comes in the following day because my friend's heart rate is bouncing all over the place, which is one of the main reasons. Again, there's a it's almost like a storyboard of like what are things that uh could be affecting what's going on, that maybe we can get to the actual thing or things that's driving this. And that just hasn't happened until now, where his power of attorney stepped in, did some talking, did some research, that there are advocates available and you're able to request one, and then they can look at everything as a whole. And so this individual, and we've had him on the show a couple of times. He was the R word when he was growing up, among a lot of other things, experiences, traumas that he really hasn't healed from that. And for the medical staff to not address that, whether they're not interested in it, or I don't know. I know a little bit about the business side that the more people, the more patients that get admitted, it, the more money a hospital makes. And I really hope that this isn't a money-driven decision, but it kind of seems like it. So, the first procedure didn't work. Heart rate still bouncing all over the place. Be more specific. The beats per minute and they wanted to release him. And then he said, I'm gonna go home, and then I'll end up back here. Like, we need to look into this and find out what's the real things that are like the high heart rate is what we're seeing. But what we're not seeing, again, is that trauma and all the different experiences that haven't healed properly. Nobody's really stepped in to help him. And that's very disappointing to me because again, we talk about, well, obviously the advocate, but we talk about the stigma. People are like, oh, everybody, mental health, that's just so over. No, it's not. And this is one of the reasons why there is stigma around mental health because we have cardiologists, at least two that I'm aware of that I've seen and heard with my own ears in the last week that haven't wanted to touch mental health, that haven't wanted to get into, yeah, the trauma that he has gone through. And he even brought it up in conversation with the cardiologist, and I was there when that happened. And it was very, very concerning how the doctor responded because he really didn't answer the question. He didn't say, "Hey, we're going to look into this and we're going to get you an advocate and we're going to, look at this from the whole. You're going to have a whole team. We're going to, the dietitian or a nutritionist, and we're going to get everybody together and we're going to look at this from a holistic standpoint instead of, well, we have you scheduled for another procedure tomorrow." And my friend was like, "What?" He said, "I don't want to do that, or I don't know if I want to do that." And the doctor wanted an answer like that. Asked the question, wanted my friend just to say, "Oh yeah." He just said, "Hey, I'm going to need a little bit of time to think about this." Because I mean, he's going under the anesthesia, and um, you know, there's a chance, something, really bad could happen, worse than what is going on. And so he said that. He just said, "Hey, doc, I need I need a little bit of time. I got to talk to my power of attorney. I, I, I just need to think about this." And so my friend said, I'd like to stay till tomorrow and I got this advocate that's going to come and we're going to get, the whole staff together. Not every single person's on the staff, but like the different areas, of all the functions of the body, that they're all going to work together. So, the right hand knows what the left hand's doing. And the one question that my friend asked, he said, "Why?" One doctor says we got to do this. Another doctor says we got to do that. And he just says, why is that? Like, why are you saying I need to do this, but this other one said I need to do that? And he got no response. Just, it was, well, there's just so many different ways that we can approach this. And it wasn't a clear answer. And it was a very good question, an easy question. You would think that everybody would be on the same page, right? So let's say cardiologist one goes on vacation. Cardiologist two, for hypothetical purposes, cardiologist two steps in while cardiologist one is on vacation. And so there's, certain processes and uh, things they would have learned in medical school. And this is not to bash, I mean, it's very clear. This is not to bash the medical field. This is not to bash the church, and they talked about not giving the last rites because they didn't donate enough over their lifetime. And isn't about, bashing particular hospitals or that. These are just facts that have occurred, and so that's why we're talking about this. So we want to let you know if you or somebody you know, loved one, does get sick, finds themselves in hospital. A lot of people just say yes to these procedures. And I'm not saying a procedure is right or wrong or anything, but you got to give the patient enough time, a little bit of time to think about it. This isn't like going out and buying toilet paper at the grocery store. You're like, oh, we're out of toilet paper. We got to go buy it. Like, you don't really think a whole lot about that. We're talking about like your heart, being alive or passing away. Like, that's a little bit different. Going to buy a house, go look at multiple houses. I like this, I don't like that. I like this, I don't like that. I don't, I don't. So the decision making for medical related uh, medical related procedures or medication uh, could be allergic to uh, it's just very hard to see because when you think of hospitals, you think that they want to get people well, not that they're treating you as you or me or anybody else as a transaction of, okay, well, we got, three procedures out of them. Uh, and so now they're home. So let's bring that other person from the emergency room, get them a bed, and then we'll do the procedures. And, and so I would just caution anybody, any medical staff, any patient to say it's okay. Like we need to slow down and not expect people to make a decision in literally like 5 seconds. And because my friend wanted to take the holistic approach and found out through his power of attorney and they're researching that there are advocates at the hospital, or at least at this specific hospital. And so nobody told them. They had to find it out on their own. And I don't like seeing anybody suffer at all, whether it's a friend or not. But to be in the hospital for going on a week and it being like 5.5, 6 days in to a hospital stay with no good answer of why things are happening, it's because they're not looking at the whole picture. They're not bringing everybody together that the cardiologist is like, oh, I didn't know about this. So let's maybe try something different. And I would like to see that approach for my friend, or whether they're not my friend or whether they're my relative, uh, or not. Now I know that there are advocates that do this. I didn't know that there were. So now I've learned something. So down the road, heaven forbid I I I end up in the hospital. I'm able to have an advocate for me, and we can look at everything around. We can look at the physical health, the mental health, the trauma. Uh, the when somebody's abused, That doesn't go away. I mean, time may go by, but that doesn't go away. And if somebody that's 70 years old or 60 or 50 or 40, whatever the age is, if they haven't had a proper chance to dig into that, because my friend is in constant fight or flight mode or flight and fight mode, fight or flight mode. Uh, I don't know. I've heard it both ways, so you get the idea. So his body is amped up because it just is. Because these things, you know, being abused when he was growing up and all these different things that happen, uh, seeing people die in front of, like, there's just a lot of things that nobody's really taken a like to, not liking the situation, but taking a like to be an advocate for him. And whether it's a boy, a girl, a man, a woman, let this show today, when you're watching, you're listening, let this be a lesson for you and I as patients, some point, maybe, hopefully not. And let this be a little bit of a lesson for the doctors, a little better bedside manner. If the heart is what we're looking at and we come for a visit and we don't even check the heart with our stethoscope, but we got it around our neck. Why do you have it around your neck if you're not going to use it? I mean, come on. This isn't like, if I can recognize this stuff, anybody can. And then I'll leave you with this last parting thought that, or last parting event that happened. So my friend, I just happened to be on the phone with him, and another cardiologist came in. And so he put, like, kind of put the phone, because it's one of the old-fashioned phones. It's, corded and it's connected to the wall and all that. So he just kind of like set the phone down a little bit. Cardiologist comes in and I can hear the conversation back and forth. And he's allowed me to share this information. So, um, and I haven't given names. Uh, he doesn't mind with his name. But I haven't given, the doctor's names or the hospital or what church didn't give the last rites because person didn't donate uh, or tithe enough over their lifetime. So as I'm hearing this conversation on the phone yesterday, one thing really got me and my friend really even more disappointed. And that was when my friend says, I'm going to stay another night. And, and the doctor says, we're going to do the same procedure we did, a couple days ago. We're going to do that tomorrow. Come to learn that this procedure, you might not know if it actually worked for a period of time. I think it was maybe a month or so. Like so it didn't work the first time, but I guess there's a period of time where it can work its way through the system and get the heart back in rhythm. That's kind of the basic version that I can give. I know it's all confusing. So on the phone, and my friend says to the doctor who didn't check his heart, um, all right, well, I'm gonna need a couple minutes or, to consult with my power of attorney and I just need to think about it. We're talking about my heart, and he's like, I don't know if I want to do that. And then the doctor said something like that he would be discharged, and so he would be released because he's saying, well, I'm not going to do I don't want to do the procedure that you have me scheduled for tomorrow, doc. And what the doctor said, he said, well, this isn't a hotel. You can't just stay here, as long as you want. And my friend said, he goes, I'm not treating this like a hotel. I want to be treated like a whole person. And so I now have an advocate, and I want everybody to talk to each other. So like I said earlier, so the left hand knows what the right hand's doing and vice versa. And so it makes sense to everybody. There's a consensus uh that the combined functional staff would all be on the same page. And if they weren't, then they could share, they could debate, whatever, to get to an agreement that this is probably the best at this point, or maybe that is the best at this point, or there's not really a good option. So again, this isn't to bash any specific church at, at all. It's the situation happened. I can just imagine my loved one when my dad was passing, and we were luckily we were able to do the hospice at home, and we were able to get priests to do the last rites. But of that situation where the person wanted the last rites, got a hold of the priest or the pastor or what the clergy person that does that, uh, and they say it comes back to money. That come on, can we just be human beings for a minute? I mean, we should be able to be human beings for more than a minute. It just made me just sick thinking about that. And then all the events that I talked about since with my friend in a hospital and the staff, and so we're we're hoping and praying that this advocate is able to get the right doctors and people that they can come together, they can talk amongst themselves, be on the same page of like, oh, did you know that he has this and that and this trauma, and like, oh no, I didn't. Like, oh, I'm just treating the fact that he has a high heart. We're just trying to lower the heart rate. Well, if well, that's all well and good, but if you don't handle the trauma, he's gonna go back into that fight or flight mode or flight or fight mode, however that's said. Uh, said it multiple ways, but in essence, the body is, kind of on edge, looking around, and um, like something might happen. Maybe it doesn't, but that's the simplest way I can really share that. So be an advocate for yourself, be an advocate for somebody else as well as yourself, because that might be what helps heal, even if just for a little bit, help heal you, a loved one, friend, a coworker, So just know that you're able to. If you're in a hospital setting, there are advocates. If you want the holistic, which is all the functional areas, you want them to talk together and you want them to kind of, come basically come to your room, your hospital room, then you can watch and listen and ask, and so you feel a bit more comfortable. That might lower stress just by that happening. So be an advocate for yourself, mental health wise, but also be an advocate physical health wise and total health wise. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching, listening here in the United States or abroad. If you can give us a thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share, repost, reshare. We'd appreciate that. If you reach out to 25 contacts in your phone and share our podcast with them, we would greatly appreciate that. And we want to welcome not only individuals who are already part of the Voices for Voices family, but who are new to the Voices for Voices family. Welcome, and we will talk to you and see you very, very, very soon. Bye bye for now.